What's up, guys? Johnny Tacos here with another exciting and informative episode of the Johnny Taco Show. Yes, I know y'all see behind me my Gundam boxes are about to lean. It looks like the Leaning Tower of Pisa right there. Which pizza, man? I am hungry. I gotta quit thinking about food. I'm a big guy. Everybody knows I'm a big guy. Uh, I have an awesome opportunity to speak to Michael from Heartbound, all the way from the little place you call Austin, Texas, which is part of Augusta, which is Roma for August. Wow, there you go. That is weird. I I don't know. It's the ADD medicine that I am not taking because I am not. I am what do you call that self when you what do you call that thing when you say you're self-examined? I self-examined myself as a ADD guy, or maybe I like to add a lot. I don't know. It just depends on what your perception is. But I have a great show today. I am awesome. Well, I say I'm awesome. I don't know. What I do is I try to make a script. I write it down. It's very heartfelt. The questions are so defined. It is so beautifully written, and then I just throw it away. And then I felt bad about it. I had remorse, so I try to open it up and look at it, and there's already a Coke bottle that's splashed onto there, and it comes out as Klingon, and I'm pretty sure this is the wrong platform to speak Klingon. Unless you like Klingon, then maybe I'll do that as a caption at the bottom. Everything in Klingon because I have to be diverse. You can't let out the Klingons. Maybe they want to know about God. But I have Michael here, and I don't want to like destroy his last name. I want to say Riccardi.
Oh, perfect. First try.
Is it Riccardi?
Yeah, literally. First try.
I was back in my BC days of Bacardi, so I just said instead of the B, I put I Riccardi.
Well, and it's funny
Oh,
because in
Riccardi.
California they had a company called Ricardi that made rum as well. So it was I don't know how the copyright infringement didn't hit them with Bacardi Ricardi, but perfect try. Most people try to hit me with the Italian uh, language. They're like, "Oh, it's Riccardi." I'm like, "No, it's American. It's Ricardi."
Yes, it's America, America.
We got taken, so we're in America. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, that's what they. So how are you doing today, Michael?
Doing pretty good. Had a good date night with the wife last night, so went to bed. Woke up this morning ready for an interview, and I see my freaking camera is bugging right now.
As you show that there's nothing but the finest camera quality on the Johnny Talk
Always.
show. You know, I like that open sign. So are you always open? Or is that open to
Typically,
station?
typically we're usually open. I work in the sprinkler business, the fire sprinkler business, and we were at some place in Brownwood, Texas, and it was an old bowling alley, roller skating ring, or whatever. They were gutting everything, and I was like, "Oh, can I take the Coca Cola sign?" They're like, "Sure." We don't even know where it's from, and my wife's a huge fan of Coca Cola, so I got the open sign, and it works. She found a cord that worked for it because it didn't work when I got it. So I don't
Wow.
know what voodoo she worked on it, but
The power of
she
Coke
she got it to
compels
work.
you. The power of Coke compels you.
Pretty much.
So tell us something. Tell us a little bit about your band.
So Heartbound initially, I came up with the concept of Heartbound back in like 2017, 2018. And I was going through the circuit of trying to find band members, couldn't do anything. Try and start one because 2017 I was about 16. I was trying to start a band with some guys, nothing worked out. 2018 tried to start a band with some guys, didn't work out. But I started releasing solo music at the time. I have a big catalog of solo music that I do put a big viewer discretion advised because it was written before I was saved. So you'll have some bad words, you'll have some things that probably you shouldn't hear, but nothing overly bad. But I started working on solo music. 2019 was invited to join a band. Was not good. Uh, I was about to turn 18 that August, and I was just trying to start a band with a couple. I found out later on that were just drug dealers, and it was not good. Very not good scenario. And they truthfully just couldn't do anything. Like literally, they would have to take a smoke break every 5 minutes, and every time they took one, they progressively got more and more off time. Like we couldn't do anything. It was bad.
So you tried out for Hollywood Undead?
Pretty much, man.
Oh,
Like everywhere I go was about to be our number one hit, and it just all kept falling apart because they focused more on the dead part of undead, not the undead part. So, but we did that, and then COVID hit, and so I kept working on my music. I actually started working on like production and engineering and stuff. And around 2022, I had written a song for my solo music called Poppity, and it was a lot more like a kind of a new age pop punk, a trap beat with pop punk guitar. Um, and I was doing a live stream, and I was like, "Oh man, I need to try and capture that magic that made Poppity." And I started working on guitar, and I couldn't like it. I didn't like what I was hearing, and all of a sudden I plucked the chords, and it was our. I had written the riff for our first song, "Feel Again," and so when as I was trying to like come up with what I was going to do, whether I was going to release it as a solo song or finally make a band, I remembered the name Heartbound. I was like, okay, this is going to be the first release of Heartbound. I got to get it situated. And ultimately, the project initially started as a way for me to get a lot of the more poetic, the more emotional and raw feelings that I had in a sound that I grew up listening to. Because like when I was 5, I heard The Diary of Jane by Breaking Benjamin, and I was like, I want to make music. That's what I want to do. Then I was around 6 or 7, heard Holding It Down for the Underground by A Day to Remember, and I was like, I want to make music like that. And so I never had the capability. So when I finally unlocked the ability, I was like, okay, I'm going to just fully pursue this. And we ended up writing, I wrote, because up until about November of last year, this was only a one man band. Like it was just me doing all of it. Uh, Feel Again was written, released in November of 2022. Then I dropped Iron Giant is OP in February, and then dropped Disgrace in April, I think. And then that year we dropped a demo EP called I Don't Even Know Myself. But the entire album or EP, whatever, there was a connecting theme for it where tonally it was very different from what we release now. It was like Midwest emo, post punk style, a little bit of some post hardcore vocals and stuff, but nothing crazy. But the whole connecting theme was a loss of identity, and I didn't even realize that. I really didn't know that, but the entire theme was just this loss of I have no idea where I'm going. My son had just been born. It was a really catastrophic thing. Almost lost my wife and son. Uh, I was struggling with like having to have burden or having the burden of new responsibility. I was going through a situation which led to the writing of Old Friend, which we'll talk on that later. But I was just swallowed up by just like death, just like I was so lost and I so needed Jesus, but I had no idea that one, I wasn't really saved by Jesus. I hadn't accepted him. I had just been like, oh, thanks, man. I'll pray to you sometimes. And I hadn't devoted my life. I never understood the weight of that. And two, I was drowning amongst the situations that I just kept leaving doors open. I just kept leaving every door open that was around me when, God would have shut so many of them if I had just come to him faster. And so Heartbound was just basically an outlet for I only care about doing this because I'm able to get the feelings off my chest. That's really the ultimate thing. And so I released the original version of Old Friend because for those that don't know, it's the version that's about to release is a redux of it. I had an original one called "Don't Keep the Devil Waiting, Old Friend," which is a quote. If anyone knows where the quote's from, I'll send you the version early. It's really dumb where the quote came from, but released that, had some bad words in it, and then surprisingly, that was the last time there was a cuss word in a Heartbound song, even before I was saved last August on the 31st. Um, but Heartbound went from being just this outlet to being something where it was kind of like God was meeting me there without me realizing it because I released Siren Head, Calls to Me My Sadness, and that one was just a lament of needing God. Like the bridge part is just me asking, "Can you hear me? Do you hear my pleas, Father? I'm praying to you. Do you hear my pleas?" And it was just this looping part for like the final minute of the song. And then I wrote the Ballad of Rico to release, which that one was a heavy hitter for me because it was talking about my past with being a victim of child molestation, and it was a very heavy song, very deep and painful to write. But in while I was writing these, God was just slowly working on me during these like final songs. And then last August 31st, at the Holiness Cries finale tour, um, Christ just met me during the show, and on the drive home, he just said, "Come home to me. It's time to come home." And from that point, literally from that exact moment, the reason Heartbound existed, the reason that I even wrote music for Heartbound, the entire reason for it changed. It no longer was a song or a band about writing my emotions and making sure that people knew how I felt and being able to get it. It became a way to share my story for Christ's glory. So initially, it was self centered. Afterwards, it became so Christ centered that like I bring my Bible upstairs, which is what I've heard you should do anyway. But I bring my Bible upstairs and I'm reading it in between doing takes on guitar, trying to find out what the journey should be for this song. What is gonna be the inspiration? What's the divine inspiration for this one? And I don't do it perfectly. I'm gonna lay that out right now. Don't make it seem like, wow, this guy's so good. He brings a Bible to the recording session. Sometimes I forget to look at it past the initial, oh, that's an interesting verse. And then I spend 5 hours recording and I'm like, oh crap, I didn't read anything. But yeah, Heartbound started out as just a way for me to basically just whine and moan and be like, oh, look at how pitiful my life is, to wow, Christ has done so much for me. Here's the good news. Hear what's going on. Hear how he has changed me and those involved in the band now.
So let's go back to that story. It's a pretty interesting story that it all started. It showed your journey. It showed your journey back that I think a lot of people go through. If
Yep.
you really recall, there was a time where you're a child and you think childish things such as me, 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 because you remember And you're a father, so you know your child goes me, 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 me. So everything is all about you in that little world. And then when you really realize and you reach out and you have that conversation with Jesus, that's when the me's become you. You know,
Mhm.
what do you want me to do, Lord? Is there something that I need to do to show you how truly blessed I am that you are in my life, and that through all this darkness that had, I almost start singing that one song, all this darkness and prison in me, all that I see, absolute dark. Sorry. Uh, when all this darkness that it had kind of cast shade in my life, there was that one true light, and I was just so blind that with rage and resent and all that I did not see that light. So it was an open testimony. If you really think about it, if you think about your music that you were writing about me, 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 but if you look at it, it still is a testimony of through the pain that you went through, and then when you finally gave your life to Jesus, and then that testimony became complete, and then you're able to bring it out there and have people listen to it and kind of resonate. So with that, you s- you're loving music. Breaking Benjamin's awesome. I think they have a
Amen,
lot
brother.
of spiritual context, within the music. Uh, I'm a huge fan. I saw them. What was it? A couple weeks ago at Dickies with 3 Days Grace. Uh,
Oh, I want to take a test so bad.
and we were pretty close. If you go on my TikTok, I have um, like quick reels of how close we were to see Ben. I saw Ben. Ben is getting old. He's getting old.
Yeah, he ain't spring chicken no more.
No. Uh, but going back to your music, do you feel more fulfilled in doing Christian, good old fashioned hardcore than what you did before?
100%. I, I struggle with pride and envy, like most people do, um, but especially within music. And so, starting with doing solo music in like 2018, that would mean like 7 years of doing music. And after about four, I really still hadn't grown any. I hadn't really, none of the numbers were there, none of what I wanted. And so when I started releasing Heartbound, it was kind of the same thing where I was like pouring my heart, and not a whole lot of people were listening. And it was soul crushing because I hadn't understood that me working through like my trauma, my pain, the situations I've been through, I was using these numbers as a sort of way to assign value to that pain. So like Feel Again was written about trying to, which I say it at shows now, that it took me 3 years to realize what the song was written about, because it wasn't written about me struggling with apathy and wanting to just like not be here, not die, but just not exist. It was about trying to say like, let me go again, I can feel again, set, like I want to be free from that sin, I want to be free from this life that I'm living that's empty. It's inevitably when you live for yourself you're just going to die horribly, because there's nothing for you, there's nothing for you to live for. And so I kept assigning numerical values to the pain. Like, oh, okay, so obviously no one really cares. There's not really a point if no one's listening to the song written about not wanting to exist or one feeling listless. The utter change after I gave my heart to Christ, and we released our first. It was the first song that Lee was on, "The Monster I See." It was just fully written from my faith, fully written from my belief in Christ, and the result of that was I released it. We released it, and it was like, whoa, this is a drastic. Like I feel pride in it, but not at all for me. And there was a little bit of that with that song, but the better example would be when we released "I Am Disgusted." There was a totally different atmosphere and mental space when we released that one. For me, we released it and we had hit like 300 streams in like 4 days, and I was like, "Wow, praise you, God!" Like, I'm so glad that people are enjoying this. Like, I'm so excited. It was our first song. We had worked with Matthew from Bloodlines, Matthew Benavides, as our producer, and it was the first song that I'd written that I'd put so much effort into, and was writing, trying so hard to write from a divine inspired place versus just a self inspired. And so it was like, hey, God, praise you. Like, all this glory goes to you. And then out of nowhere, it was skyrocketing to 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 streams in like a week and a half, 2 weeks. And I was talking to my mom, I was talking to my wife, I was talking to a couple other people where I was just like, for the first time, the number means nothing to me past the fact that, oh, that is hopefully 4,000 people that have heard the message. That is 4,000 people that have heard Christ save me from my past of porn, has saved me from, because the whole song is written about the battle with the flesh, the lust, um the enemy trying to pull you back and keep putting you down and keep telling you that you're only going to be this disgusting person that watches porn, and that there is no freedom from it. You can't be free from it. And it's this whole just basically lament to Christ of I need you to save me, but also realizing, wow, I am so flawed. I am very flawed, and thank God I have a God that will save me from this and strengthen me because I am weak. And all I could think, and even still, is just, wow, I'm so glad that this has been heard so many times for people to hear how God has worked in my life and that God can work in their life. And the vast difference from the value that I saw it through numbers and through the music initially to now, where I'm writing stuff that's feeling spiritually fulfilling. I'm still doing this passion. I'm still doing this thing that I've loved since I was so young. But it's now, there is such a reason for it that I can't believe I ever wrote music before without having the basis of my faith in God there, because everything else rings so much more hollow to me.
And like you said, the feeling of that you were so by yourself and you're checking the numbers, you're checking how many people are looking at your post or just trying to get this stuff going. Um, but once you let go and you let God do it, then nothing really matters as long as that passion that you have to do what you're doing now is still there and still on fire. Um, because if we to be honest, the world does not like Christian content. Um, you can go out there and you can praise Jesus. You can talk to people about Jesus. You can go out and do a sermon on the hill kind of thing, but you won't get as much. pull as, if you're out there doing the OF and, just like the addictions that you said that you had, people suffer from that because it's a flesh, and our flesh sometimes gets the strength of us. And um, through that, you have to, if you get those urges, you have to really get closer to God. You have to get closer to Him, and He will open the doors or close them, um, to help you out into that. Through that series of events. There's always going to be bad things that happen. There's going to be, it's nothing new under the sun. We live in a world where it's crazy out there right now. If you
Mm-hmm.
see what happened last week, and the events that happened there, and how people were reacting negatively or very disgusting towards it. It just shows what kind of mentality people are out there. They're either truly, truly evil, hateful people, or they're showing off just to try to get people to get their attention. Either way,
Mm-hmm.
it's very, very disgusting to look at. You see what's happening with just life nowadays. The way the cost of living skyrocketing. The uh, the 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 terror that's happening. Unfortunately, what happened to the children at the school and at that Catholic church a couple
Mm-hmm.
weeks ago, and that poor lady on the bus. She didn't do nothing, and what happened to her? You see all this anger, you see all this evil out there, and it makes me mad. It makes me really, really angry to see all this stuff happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the old me would be on a soapbox, trying to start fights and stuff like that. But now with the relationship with God, I know that this is this is not what He wants me to do, to go with anger, but to talk with sternness, but with love. And
Mm-hmm.
um, just like you said, your life doing music for yourself and then for God, it's just a complete 180 of what you were feeling through. And my heart goes out to you with all the turmoil that you had as a kid. Um,
I appreciate it.
I've known a couple of people that it happened to. Prayers go out to you because I know it's nothing that you can just forget and like it never happened. And that you're showing as a good husband and a good father and a good servant of God, that you're using this as a tool to help people instead of using it as a suppressor to hold people down.
I appreciate that, brother. Thank you. Try the ultimate thing for me has been really just trying to take to heart the scriptures. Like I was saved, but I was still swearing, and it was only for. It feels like so much longer, but it was really only a couple of weeks. But like I was swearing after church, and I just had the realization. I'm like, I really need to stop. The Bible says, "Let no unwholesome talk come out of your mouth. Don't use coarse language." And I took that to heart, and it was. I've been cussing since I was like 7 or 8, like with friends, and then really cussing and stuff when I hit the teens. And so it was funny to witness like that. There was not a struggle at all. Like as soon as I told God, I was like, "Hey, I want to surrender this to you. I don't want to do this." It was like a switch was flipped. I was not swearing anymore, and I didn't feel an urge to swear. And it was like, wow, okay. And taking the scripture, the taking to heart, the being the head of the household, needing to understand the Bible so I can lead my family uh, on the path that God's laid out to us. And uh, be the one that is making sure that my family is right with God and making sure, like my wife and I last night, we were having a discussion. We went out. I saw your Demon Slayer shirt, which love it. We went. My wife and I actually went and saw the Infinity Castle movie last night. Um, but on our way back, we were having just this big discussion about what it means to, what does it mean to evangelize? What does it mean, oh, I don't want to do things just so I have a reward. I want to do it just for the good of God and stuff. And it was a moment where I got to sit and be the head of the household and talk to my wife and be like, well, it's not, the reward is God, is a relationship with God. You're saying you want to do good without a reward, but we don't have the capability of good. Any good that we do comes from God. And I was like, so the reward that you're seeking is eternal life with Him. And we got to just dive into that and have a discussion. But it was because of the baseline of really taking to heart the fact that the husband and the father is supposed to be there. And I've had this extreme conviction last year to continue doing that. So it's been a roller coaster for sure. And the stuff that's been happening the last couple of weeks has been weighing a lot on me, just in sense of uh, I had made a post the day I got baptized, and we were talking about Revelation. I want to say 2:11. But the final part of that verse was, "Remain faithful unto death, and I will give you the crown of life." And that stuck with me from like 3 weeks ago. It just kept sticking with me. I'm like, I don't know why this is sticking with me, And in the post that I had made, I was discussing um, that in America we're not really martyred for our beliefs. We're thankfully in a first world country where we have freedom of speech and freedom of religion and stuff. So we're not really martyred here. We're not like a third world country. And the everything that happened with Mr. Kirk and all that stuff, it hit really close to home, and that verse just kept ringing in my head where it was like, oh, okay, we're this it may be time for us to step into that realm of preparing ourselves for possible martyrdom with it. And you know at, regardless of which side of the spectrum you're on politically, regardless of whether you're atheist or a Christian, uh, he shouldn't have been killed regardless. Like everyone online is those cheering for his death are trying to say, if we meet hatred, let's say, he was truly hateful to everyone that they said he was, and, everything was terrible. Meeting hatred with hatred is never going to solve an issue. It's just never going to be a good thing. You're going to murder someone out of hate because you felt that they're being hateful to you. That doesn't mean that you did something good. You just reacted out of hate.
Well,
And
if you actually sat down there and you analyzed his talkings and you analyzed the way his manner was, it did not spew out hate. He was literally asking them, "Hey, what what does that mean to you?" You know, he
mm,
he was sparking debate, and we live in a world where everybody's feelings get hurt,
yep.
and to a point where feelings get hurt, and they go back as kids and they rationalize like they're the first thing to do when you act like a kid. I mean, when you get something that you think it's hurting their feelings, what's the first thing you do? You start acting a fool. You stomp on the ground. You start making noises. You start acting very um, peculiar,
Mm,
and because you don't get your way. And unfortunately, you can be who you want to be at a certain age, as long as you are not impinging on other people's beliefs. And
mm,
the way things are going, that the way that they kind of perverse his talkings to make it sound like it was spewing hate, and all it was doing was just trying to get people to understand the ways of Christianity, and the ways that were going on with the transgender community, um, the atheist community, the what was it? What was it? Another one that for children. You know, he was a big advocate of letting children be children and quit
Mm-hmm.
indoctrinating them with whatever thoughts are going through your head. You shouldn't have a teacher talking to your kids about um, anything that revolves around sexuality.
Yeah,
You know, it should be
agree.
on the curriculum. You do math, you do literature, and you know you do reading, writing, and arithmetic. You know, and history. Um, you don't go around saying these are my pronouns. This is what I do. This is who I like. Blah blah blah. And you put a flag up there, which should be an American flag because you're in America. You know, you put a flag on there that you want to be your own nation, and people have to treat it as a nation. You know, I don't think that's right, but that's my opinion. You know, if I have any more children, which we're at the age where all of our children are growing up, and uh, I I would feel comfortable with the curriculum just being actual curriculum to help with their life of learning and the histories, so they can enjoy or know what our forefathers did to have their freedom. Any of this other stuff, if they want to pursue that after their 20s or something, by all means,
Yeah.
learn about it. But um, you shouldn't have to be force fed as kids like that. I remember playing GI Joes and Transformers and just having a good time. I wasn't worrying about what person am I attracted to.
And even and I think it comes back to a deeper issue where, like, for me, because of the sexual abuse I suffered, I I can't remember the exact term, but it's basically when my brain just hypersexualized, So I was focused on all of that. And as the internet age has continued on, kids have access to way too much stuff, and people, you know, obviously not trying to judge, but I mean, a lot of people are just popping iPads and iPhones in front of kids. And so they're being exposed to things that may have them hypersexualizing or being hypersexualized in their brains from a younger age, where they're trying to pursue that kind of stuff, where they're focused on in third grade, I'm attracted to this person and I want this and that, versus, kind of the thing of just let kids be kids, Like I look back on it and I wish that my brain didn't overdevelop for my age until I was, in middle school or high school, where, or even have it where I could acknowledge I liked someone, I had a crush on them, but it wasn't like my sole focus with it. And even still, with the abuse and stuff, I was still mostly focused on toys, Bakugan, Pokemon, silly bands were big when I was in school and stuff like that. Like that was the main focus, and I think it needs to be taken back. I know, like in fifth or sixth grade when I was younger, that was around the time where parents could sign a form saying that they want their kid to take sex ed, to have the understanding of the biology of it and stuff. But it was a form. You had to take the form, and the parents had to sign it. Then you had to give it to the teacher, and there was a designated day, and the parents would be notified when it was happening. And I feel like we've lost that, and it needs to come back. It needs to be where any sort of topic like that needs to be behind a waiver, and it needs to be when they're much older. I'm not sure why in the last few years it's taken such a drastic turn. I mean, obviously there's the answer of there's evil in the world. This is Satan's playground. It's going to happen as the time goes on and we get closer to the end times. But it just like for me, it's baffling where I don't understand
Well,
what was so weird and messed up about it before, and now we're stuck in this kind of realm, which is just not so good.
well, if you look at it, it's not only the iPads and all that. Even in regular TV, children's shows, all that is kind of opening up to the door where it's just all about, um, you know, sexual identity, and it's to the
Mm-hmm.
point where you can't even enjoy a music award center without someone wearing stuff that you don't want your children to see reveal, and then you see that outside in in flesh out there. You'll go to a store, and there's a girl wearing hardly nothing or wearing clothes that you know should be more modest, and the kids are soaking it in like a sponge, saying, "Okay, well it's normal to wear that." And
Mm-hmm.
um, then you got mothers who want to have women as well, their daughters as their best friends, so they pretty much try to dress them up like them. And then their moms don't dress up appropriately, so the kids don't dress up appropriately. And then it goes out like a wildfire. But we're getting off topic on that. I know I can do a whole show about over sexualization of media. Actually, I can do a whole month with all different examples,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Uh, with let's get back to your music. Heartbound, you had um, what in August you were special guest with Becoming Sons and Forgiving You, two bands that were on the show
Mm-hmm.
earlier on in last year, I believe. No, Forgiving You was this year. Becoming Sons was last year. I used to joke with them, said daughters becoming sons, and then they that too much. Um, so so you're out there, you're touring. Do you have any dates coming up?
As of now, not yet. We're hoping to have at least one more show this year. We've got some stuff very tentatively planned for next year. Um, Big stuff. Uh, local band says big things coming soon, trademarked. But we got some cool stuff coming in the next year. But we're looking to hopefully play at least one more time this year. This was our very first year performing at all. Uh, we had never played a show before April, and we played with Forgiven You at Valhalla Tavern in Austin, and we opened the whole thing, and it was amazing. It was just like confirmation that uh, this for me it was this moment of oh yeah, this is exactly what I've wanted to do. This is what feels right. And then in August we did almost back to back shows. We did Come and Take It Live on August 10th with Forgiven You. My Place Was Taken, Collective Dust, and Conquer Thy Grave, which all amazing bands. My Place Was Taken is insane. There a bunch of pastors and worship leaders from Mexico coming in and making some of the nastiest hardcore tinged deathcore for Christ. It's awesome. And then we played with Becoming Sons, Forgiven You, and Beautiful Defects on the 22nd, I think, or the 20th, one of the two. And that was fun. That was really fun. It was our first time outside of the city. Um, San Antonio. I have some family that lives over in San Antonio, so it was kind of cool to be a part of the music scene over there, and you know, get our foot in the door, so to speak, for hopefully playing some more shows out there soon. So, um,
Well, well, hopefully we can see you over here in Dallas. You know, I have family in San Antonio. Pretty much, I know pretty much all the rock scene in San Antonio. So anywhere I can go, you know, hopefully we can catch a show from you.
dude, we have some friends up in Dallas. Our friends in Unbroken Rain, and you know, half the member, or at least a fifth of the members of Bloodlines lives up there, and uh, we just got tied in a little bit with some of the other bands up there, like Adorn, and hopefully we'll be that's one of the things we're trying to get up there to play as soon as possible. We've seen Unbroken Rain once when they opened for Bloodlines and Confessions of a Traitor, and I mean for a bunch of freshly graduated and still in high school dudes, they're crazy. They are insane. Like their stage presence, their sound, everything. It's nuts. And so we're hoping to come up there and play with them soon. We're every time we've tried to plan something with them, it's fallen through. So hopefully hopefully we can get something situated for either later this year for like I don't know, like a Christmas thing or a Thanksgiving thing or something, or even next year when we're uh, trying to get out some of our new music as well. So Dallas is definitely a go-to we really want to play in. So
Awesome, man. Hey, Michael. It was so awesome to meet you. Um, we can't wait to hear some more music from you coming up. If you want to help support the band, you can hit their merch at Heartbound merch hyphen shop at fourthwall.com. If you want to, I will put that link at the bottom of this description on the show. Go over there, give them a, um, you know, help them out because merch is a pretty big thing for bands to grow because instruments need to be repaired,
yes,
uh, gas, food, and you know the lifestyle of the Christian rock, which is what do you need like for what is your lifestyle? What do you get Gatorade and sandwich?
we pretty we pretty much try and just get whatever we can when we're out playing shows. It's pretty much you got free water, okay? Someone grab granola bars and we'll be set for the night, I guess.
That's some high quality H2O.
H2O.
Water sucks. It really, really sucks.
No,
Water.
it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
But hey, Michael, man, thank you for being on the show. It was a pleasure to meet you. You're an enigma wrapped in a conundrum.
Why, thank you. I couldn't ask for a better description.
That is my next album title.
That's the next album. How did you get the album title for album 4? How'd you do that? There's no way.
The Taco Man spits out the knowledge. um, but yeah, man, thank you for being on the show. I want to thank all the listeners, every one of y'all, and it's growing and it's keep growing. I'm seeing so many more people following our shows and just the feedback of enjoying getting to know all these independent artists and getting to know that there are millions and millions of people that are good Christian faith out there just wanting to melt your face, but in a holy way. You know, the holy violence, like what we were saying that we saw earlier before we started the show. It's holy violence. It's like, hey, you pushed your sister down. I did it with holy violence. No. Uh, but I just want to say thank y'all for listening to this show. If you have listened to all the way, please like, subscribe, comment. That helps with the algorithm. Go over there and just spread the word. But don't be too crazy. I don't want people saying, "Hey, this guy just yelled at me to like your show. He forcefully did holy violence on me to for you to get into my ear holes." Uh, don't do that. Just casually say, "Hey, you like tacos? You like a man? You like the name Johnny? Here, have a YouTube link right here. You'll have a good time."
Have a Johnny Taco.
Yes, and next time I'll if we meet, we'll break tacos together, not break bread. We'll break tacos.
But hey, that's the only Texan way you can do it. No
Yep,
breaking bread here.
breaking tacos at HEB. There you go, Texas way. So, all right. Well, God bless you all. Until next time, this is Johnny Tacos here at the Johnny Taco Show. Just saying, don't have a good day. I don't want you to have a good day. I want you to have a great day. God bless you. God keep you. God loves you. I love you. We'll see you next time. Yeah. Oops. Don't want to. I want to stop.